Molly asks here, I've never had the classical Kundalini experience with energy shooting up the spine. All that happened to me are lots and lots of Kriyas. I still feel slightly unqualified to hang out in Kundalini communities, but it's been really challenging and intense and a lot of purification. Most of the Kriyas are in the throat and nowadays a lot in the hip. So should I expect the classic textbook Kundalini rising up the spine to happen in the future, or does it not happen for everyone? Yeah, and Ducey adds here, same for me. No movement up the spine, but loss of throat and hip pain. Yeah, this is a great question, Molly. So part of my aim here with this work is to dispel the myth of the stereotypical idea that Kundalini is only something that shoots up the spine in this dramatic sort of explosive moment. Um, it's not the case at all. It's just one of the stereotypes. It's an interesting way of describing it. It looks cool in artwork and that sort of thing. And it's just like, a simplified way of talking about it. Because we can speak about, the root chakra, it begins there, then it works up to the sacral chakra and the solar plexus, and eventually it reaches the spiritual chakra, the third eye, the crown, and then, you're, self-realized, enlightened, whatever. In reality, people are having this happen in so many different ways, so many different degrees of intensity, so many different directions that this energy or this process can unfold within the human system. So typically, we will hear stories from people who have had this dramatic, energetic rising up the spine. Typically, that brings a lot of fallout afterwards, a lot of intensity, a lot of cleanup, a lot of really unusual phenomena. So they're the people that make reports. They're the people that may, put a YouTube video out about their experience or write a blog post about their experience. And so that perpetuates a stereotype that that's what Kundalini awakening is. Where in reality, there are some people who don't have that experience. They have a much more gradual, subtle, calm experience without these key moments that they can pinpoint. That's when it began, or that's when it took place, or that's when everything changed for me. So there are some people who just have a much more gentle awakening process. Some people don't even experience kriyas like you're describing. And so the book that I found to be really helpful to address this point is called, it's by Joan Shivar Pita Harrigan. It's called Stories of Spiritual Transformation. Yeah, Stories of Spiritual Transformation, The Fulfillment of Kundalini Process, Modern Seekers, Ancient Teachings by Joan Shivar Pita Harrigan. So she presents 20 different individuals and their Kundalini awakening stories. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think many of them have this dramatic, energetic explosion up the spine. For many of them, it's very subtle, very gradual. And so they are absolutely qualified to, say that they're going through Kundalini awakening and to be in any of these communities, right? They've made it into one of the most sophisticated books that I've come across related to Kundalini, in my opinion. And so you're absolutely qualified to be here in this community, Molly. From our conversations, as well as Ducey here, I know that you're both in the midst of a very significant Kundalini awakening transformational processes. Even if you weren't, you're still welcome to be here. The reason that I share that is not because we're welcoming of everybody. We are, but it's not even that point. Everyone is welcome here because the things that we're doing are applicable across the board, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at on the spiritual journey. We're just sharing about our experiences, right? We meditate to just allow whatever's arising in our system, thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, movements, no movements, stillness, whatever comes up, it's all welcome. We focus on taking care of ourselves, mind, body, spirit, right? We connect with the higher power in whatever way that means for us. We practice surrendering to some intelligence that can take care of us in a way that maybe we're not able to at times, right? We're exploring, we're following the flow, right? So you're welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. But of course, like I said, you're definitely going through Kundalini awakening, given all the things that you've described. So this idea that it has to shoot up the spine, it's a myth. It's a myth, and many who have that experience have a really hard time. And there are some who would even describe if you felt Kundalini Shakti, this force moving up your spine, if you perceived it in this dramatic, explosive moment, they'll say that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing because your body wasn't prepared. If your body was properly prepared, it would be very gradual, subtle. It wouldn't really have, impacted you in such a profound, dramatic way, like some sort of atomic bomb went off in your body. Because that's what it was like for me, because my body was not prepared for this, not prepared. So that's another paradigm to consider. I don't know if I fully buy into that idea, but it's another way of looking at it. That if you did have a dramatic shooting up the spine, it's not like a good thing. It's probably like premature in a sense. It's just one way of looking at it. So that's some way that you can kind of, recontextualize your awakening if you feel, any degree of uncertainty about yourself or maybe insecurity of, claiming to be going through a Kundalini awakening. No, you don't have to feel like that. Don't have to feel like that. So I hope that can help. And thank you all for sharing here as well. Yeah, Teresa shares mine never went up. Mine was top down. Yeah, so many people will describe what they call like a descent of grace or an influx of energy or universal consciousness or source energy or something like that pouring in from the top of the head. So some people will describe that happening maybe in a Reiki thing or on psychedelics or in yoga or at night when they wake up in the middle of the night and their head feels like it's being blasted with all this energy coming inwards, right? All Kundalini phenomena. And if that word Kundalini feels limiting, because the word Kundalini describes coiled snake, coiled serpent at the base of the spine 3.5 times that uncoils and moves up the spine. So maybe the word Kundalini is too specific. You can just let go of that word and just refer to the transformation of consciousness, the spiritual awakening process, the evolution of consciousness. You can take a more broader term as well. It's all the same thing, in my opinion. It's all the same thing. Yeah, Aurora shares here. My Kundalini awakening started 3 years ago, but I only felt the energy shooting up the spine 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Siddharth here as well. Mine happened 4 weeks ago. Kundalini Shakti went up from root chakra to the crown chakra in a span of 2 days through the spine. Yeah. Yeah. And like Aurora was sharing here, it went up 3 weeks ago, but the whole process started 3 years ago, right? So in that 3 years, Aurora was still going through Kundalini awakening. She just hadn't yet experienced this energy moving up the spine. Now, this could be also the case for you as well, Molly. You may still experience a significant moment where the energy moves up the spine, right? But maybe not, and that's okay. You don't have to anticipate it or hope for it or feel like that's a goal to get to. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't matter. And like I said, why doesn't it matter? Because the work is the same. You don't have to do anything different. The work is the same, right? Same spiritual work. Yeah. Yeah, Lisa shares here, top down too, as I was going to sleep. Totally spontaneous. Yeah. Red Pill Queen asks, what does it feel like? Top down. What happens when it hits the root? Yeah, if others can describe their experience, please do. For me, I experienced a top-down awakening initially in 2012. 3 years later, then I experienced a sort of rising up my spine. For me, the top-down awakening actually didn't make it into my body. It stopped probably somewhere around at my forehead or my throat, where it was a very expansive state of consciousness that was completely detached from my body without any degree of embodiment or integration into this like flesh here. It was just like a transcendent experience that was interesting, but very imbalanced, very imbalanced for me. So it may not actually make it to the root in the same way that some people describe the energy moving up from the root, but it doesn't make it to the crown all at once. Um, so thank you all for sharing here. Yeah, Molly shares here. Yeah, I'm probably insecure and just self-doubting. It's also been 3+ years, and I guess part of me is bored of the Kriyas and emotional purification only and looking for something different. Yeah, this can happen as well. This can happen as well. Yeah, yeah. Just have to flow with the pacing that the Shakti within knows is best for our system, right? If every awakening experience or every kriya or phenomena or energetic whatever happened all to you at once, like, we wouldn't survive. It's too much. Have to just trust the process. And sometimes it gets boring. Boring, just sitting around doing the same thing over and over again. But that's because boring is safe. Exciting is fun, but maybe not so safe at times. Yeah, Sherman shares here. Me too. Was playing video games and shot up my spine to the top of my head. Eyes made a popping sound and then became super conscious for a month. Wow. I've heard some people describe video games as becoming meditative because of the high degree of concentration that may be required or some people may get into when playing video games. And the high degree of concentration is very similar, if not no different than the high degree of concentration on meditation on the breath or a mudra or a candle flame or a mantra, I should say, not mudra. Um, and that high degree of concentration puts a person into a state where, the awakening can take place. For others, it can be hyper focusing on art, for example, um, for extended periods of time. So inadvertently, people don't even know they're getting into meditative states through something like video games or painting or something, and then they trigger an awakening. Yeah, Medina shares here. This perspective and point of view is so, so important. I remember when I first started the process, my body was going crazy with Kriyas and I had lots of spiritual experiences. Also, electricity up my spine, etc., etc. But no blast out of the crown, which is the textbook description. And I remember reading a book and being a part of a community at that time that would say that what I'm going through is not Kundalini due to me not experiencing the blast out of the crown. Due to that, I started thinking that I was just going crazy. It made my process very difficult and scary at the start. Thank Goddess for this community and for you, Brent. It helped me so much in understanding what was happening in my body, which now, without a doubt, I know is the Kundalini process. Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for being part of this community and sharing all of your different experiences, right? Different experiences. So when I first began this work, one of the main things that I was told to share was that there are broad themes that we see across the board, but each individual has a very unique experience, right? And it's our job to be able to discern what do we have in common and what do we have that's unique to us, that's unique to us as individuals. So everyone's awakening is different. But if we zoom out, there's many commonalities as well. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people will get all, oh, that's not Kundalini. So what if it's not Kundalini? It doesn't matter. The work is the same. That's the thing. We don't need to gatekeep here. We're not like telling people they're not welcome. It's like it doesn't matter. What are you gonna do that's different? You don't have to do anything different.